Close your eyes and listen. There is a power within you. Not outside, not in the books, not in the noise of the world, not in the endless stream of distractions. It is inside, silent, waiting. Most people will never access it. Why? Because they are too busy looking outward, while the key has always been within. You are not here by accident. You are not listening to this by chance. There is something deep in you that has always known. There is more than what the eyes can see, more than what the world has offered, more than the limits you were taught to believe. This is the forbidden technique, to see without eyes, to know without thought, to perceive the invisible. It is not forbidden by others, it is forbidden by your own mind. Your fears, your doubts, your conditioning, they have placed a wall between you and your true self, but a wall is only solid when you believe in it. You must train the inner eye, the eye that does not blink, the eye that never closes, the eye of awareness. When you are still, you see. When you are silent, you hear. When you let go, you understand. Most chase knowledge. You must chase understanding. You must feel truth. You must become truth. That is the difference. There are no shortcuts. You must face the self. Every fear, every shadow, every desire. You must stand in the fire of discipline. When the body wants comfort, you choose the hard path. When the mind wants noise, you choose silence. This is the path of the awakened, the path of the unseen warrior. Do not expect applause. Do not wait for permission. The world will not validate what it cannot comprehend. They will say it's strange. They will say it's impossible. Let them. The ones who walk the invisible path are never understood in the beginning, but they see long before the world catches up. Your inner vision is not a fantasy. It is not a metaphor. It is real. It is precise. It can show you your true direction, your real purpose, your hidden strengths, but only when you stop searching for it in others. You must sit. You must breathe. You must be present. And in that stillness, when the noise has died, when the illusions have faded, you will hear it. The voice that says, I've been here all along. That is you, the real you, the ancient one within the temporary body, the eternal observer behind the thoughts. Activate it, not with effort, but with surrender. Let go of what you think you are and see what you truly are. No one can do this for you, not even me. I can only point to the door. You must walk through it. But when you do, everything changes. The world becomes clearer. Decisions become easier. The fear disappears. Because now, you see, not with your eyes, but with your being. This is the forbidden technique. Now that you know it, use it. Become unshakable. Become aware. Become awake. True vision is not what you see with your eyes, it is what you perceive with your awareness. Most people believe they understand the world because they can observe it physically. But what they see is filtered, distorted, and often incomplete. Physical eyes are limited by distance, by light, by distraction. But the inner vision, it is limitless. It sees without obstruction. It is connected to something far deeper, far older, and far more intelligent than anything the surface level can offer. When you look at a person, you may see their face, their body, the way they dress or carry themselves, but inner vision allows you to perceive their energy, their intention, their emotional state, and even the silent stories they carry within them. It is this kind of perception that separates the ordinary from the awakened. And it does not depend on your education, your background, or your circumstances. It depends entirely on your ability to turn inward and awaken what is already there. Most of humanity remains blind. Not because they cannot see, but because they refuse to look deeper. They rely on surface judgments. They cling to illusions. They believe what they are told without questioning. They fear the unknown. They run from silence. And so, they remain disconnected from their own power. The moment you understand that true vision is not something external to attain, but an inner state to reveal, you begin a new kind of journey not towards something new, but towards something ancient within you. Your awareness is like a light. Wherever it shines, truth is revealed. And the more conscious you become, the more refined your vision grows. You begin to see patterns, you begin to sense energies, you become aware of how your emotions affect your decisions. You notice how other people's words carry intentions beyond the surface. You are no longer fooled by appearances because you are connected to something deeper. This inner eye does not judge. It observes. It does not panic. It understands. It does not react. It responds. To activate this form of vision, one must first remove the distractions that keep it buried, the noise of the world, the overthinking, the endless opinions of others. These are the clouds that cover your inner clarity. When you slow down, when you detach from what no longer serves you, when you sit in presence without needing to fix or chase or achieve, your true vision begins to awaken. It is in this space that you begin to perceive life as it is, not as you were conditioned to believe. You see through the illusions of status, competition, and fear. You begin to recognize truth not because someone told you, but because you feel it. You know it. This is the highest form of intelligence, direct perception. And make no mistake, this ability is not reserved for the monks in the mountains or the spiritual masters in the temples. It is available to you right now, wherever you are, but only if you have the courage to step away from the noise, even if for a few moments a day, and look within. The more you do this, the more refined your inner senses become. Over time, your decisions improve, your emotional intelligence sharpens, your ability to sense what's right for you becomes instinctual. This is what it means to truly see, not with the physical eyes that can deceive, but with the eye of awareness that cannot be fooled. It does not rely on logic alone. It combines wisdom, presence, and direct experience. When your inner vision is awake, life becomes a mirror. Every situation teaches you. Every challenge refines you. Every moment invites you to see deeper. In the modern world, silence is seen as a void, something uncomfortable, awkward, or even threatening. But in truth, silence is not emptiness. It is presence, it is power. It is the sacred gateway through which we access the deepest parts of our consciousness. When everything external is quiet, we begin to hear the internal. And in that space, something extraordinary happens. We see what we could never see before. Noise is everywhere. The noise of other people's opinions, the noise of media, the endless noise of your own overthinking. Most people are so used to being surrounded by this constant buzz that they don't even notice how loud their lives have become. But ask yourself, when was the last time you truly sat with yourself, in complete stillness, with no distraction, no phone, no music, no conversation, just you and your breath? Most avoid this space because in silence there is nowhere to hide. Every suppressed fear, every unresolved emotion, every unanswered question begins to rise to the surface. Yet, this is the very process that leads to awakening. Silence exposes the noise we've buried. It brings clarity, not because it gives answers, but because it removes what's not true. When you sit in silence long enough, the mind begins to settle, like muddy water becoming clear. Thoughts lose their power, emotions rise and pass like waves, and then, there it is, pure awareness. In this awareness, you begin to observe rather than identify. You are no longer pulled into the drama of every thought. You are no longer reactive to every emotion. You start seeing patterns in your thinking. You start recognizing the subtle pull of your habits. You begin to see what's really driving your actions, and more importantly, what has been keeping you blind. This is where inner vision begins to form. It is not a sudden flash or supernatural miracle. It is a gradual sharpening of perception that happens when the external world is silenced. You start noticing the space between your thoughts. You begin to hear the quiet intuition that was always there, but drowned out by your busy mind. And once you begin to listen, it becomes louder, clearer, more certain. The truth is, wisdom doesn't shout, it whispers. And if your life is too noisy, you will never hear it. That is why silence is not a luxury, it is a necessity. It is a tool for the serious seeker, the inner warrior, the one who wants to see beyond illusion. In silence, time slows down. You begin to move with intention rather than impulse. Your decisions are no longer based on urgency, but on clarity. And the more often you return to silence, the more familiar it becomes. What was once uncomfortable becomes sacred. What was once awkward becomes healing. Silence turns into a sanctuary, a place where you reconnect with your true self. And each time you leave that place, you carry with you a deeper sense of vision, a stronger connection to your intuition, and a more powerful presence. People around you begin to notice, not because you are louder, but because you are more grounded, more calm, more precise. You don't speak much, but when you do, it has weight. You no longer react with emotion, but respond with wisdom. This is the gift of silence. This is what it unlocks in you. The world will try to keep you distracted. It will offer every kind of stimulation to keep you from being still. But those who learn to retreat into silence, even for a few minutes a day, access a level of vision and power most will never know. They become their own guide. They stop looking for answers out there because they've found the source within. Discipline is not a punishment. It is the bridge between who you are and who you are capable of becoming. It is the fire that burns away weakness, laziness, and distraction. Most people misunderstand discipline because they associate it with restriction. But in truth, discipline is the ultimate form of freedom. It is the conscious choice to rise above comfort and walk the higher path even when no one is watching, especially when no one is watching. The journey of awakening inner vision is not about instant results or surface-level motivation. It requires a deep, consistent practice of self-control. Every day, your mind and body will try to pull you toward the path of least resistance. Sleep longer, scroll more, avoid discomfort. But each time you choose the opposite. Each time you push back against the pull of ease, something inside you grows. That something is your willpower. And your willpower is the key to unlocking deeper perception. When the body is tired, when the mind is foggy, and you still show up for your practice. Whether it's meditation, breathwork, movement, or self-reflection, you are training yourself to stay committed, not to comfort, but to growth. And this commitment builds momentum. Slowly, you begin to detach from the cravings of the body. You become less reactive to the emotions of the moment. You stop negotiating with excuses. In this state, you don't need motivation because you've built discipline. Discipline is also what protects your energy. It allows you to say no when your mind wants to say yes to distractions. It creates boundaries that shield you from the noise of the world. It's not about being rigid, it's about being clear. You become more intentional with your time, your focus, your environment. You begin to realize that not everything deserves your attention. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every impulse is worth following. And as you discipline your external habits, your internal world begins to change. The mind becomes sharper. Your thoughts slow down. You begin to observe rather than react. You gain clarity, not because the world is quieter, but because you are more focused. And that clarity is what opens the door to inner vision. It is like tuning an instrument. The more precise the tuning, the more powerful the sound. The more disciplined your mind, the more sensitive your awareness becomes. It is in this state of discipline that true transformation happens. You are no longer pulled by moods or circumstances. You begin to respond to life instead of being tossed around by it. Even in chaos, you remain centered. Even in discomfort, you remain grounded. This is the strength of a trained mind, a disciplined soul, an awakened being. People will wonder how you remain calm in the storm, how you stay consistent while others burn out, how you keep showing up even when there is no applause. But you will know, the strength comes from the invisible hours, the early mornings when no one saw you, the silent meditations when your mind screamed to stop, the decisions you made in solitude. This is where inner mastery is forged. And it's not just about what you do, it's about what you become through discipline. You become trustworthy to yourself. You no longer break your own promises. You no longer betray your goals. You build inner integrity and with it unshakable confidence. You trust your intuition more because you've removed the interference. You see clearer because you're no longer blurred by inconsistency. Discipline may feel difficult at first, but over time it becomes your strength. It becomes your sanctuary. It becomes the container through which your inner vision can grow, expand, and express itself. Without it, clarity will fade. But with it, you will see what others miss, know what others guess, and become what others only imagine. Letting go is often misunderstood as weakness, as if surrendering means giving up. But in truth, letting go is one of the most powerful acts a person can commit to. It is not the act of losing, it is the art of freeing. Letting go clears the space for your inner vision to rise. You cannot activate something higher while clinging to the lower. Just like you cannot fill a cup that is already full, you cannot see clearly if your mind is clouded by the past, by fear, by the need to control everything. We are conditioned to hold on tightly to identities, stories, expectations, emotions, achievements, failures. The mind wants certainty. It wants familiarity. It wants comfort, even if that comfort is toxic. But growth doesn't happen in comfort. Vision doesn't awaken in the known, in the space beyond attachment, in the moment where you decide to release what no longer serves you. When you let go of fear, you create space for courage. When you let go of control, you create room for flow. When you let go of your ego, your true self begins to emerge. This self is not trying to prove anything. It doesn't need validation. It simply is. And it sees clearly. Letting go is not passive. It's an active choice to trust in something greater than your need to cling. And many people are afraid to let go because they believe they lose who they are. But the truth is, what you lose is only the illusion, the masks, the false confidence, the self-image built on survival. What remains is real, raw, powerful. You don't lose yourself. You find yourself. You become aligned with your higher nature, and that alignment unlocks a deeper intelligence, one that doesn't come from thinking, but from being. This is where inner vision becomes sharp. Because once you release attachment to outcome, once you release the noise of what should be, you begin to see what is. And in that presence, truth is revealed. You notice what feels right without needing to explain it. You sense who belongs in your life and who drains your energy. You recognize the lessons behind each experience rather than getting stuck in the story. Letting go is not about ignoring pain or pretending things don't matter. It's about accepting what is without resistance. It's about facing the reality of a moment without trying to twist it into something more comfortable. This level of acceptance brings deep clarity, and with clarity comes direction. You no longer move out of desperation or pressure, you move with intention. The inner vision you seek cannot grow in a mind cluttered with resistance. It requires openness, stillness, and space. And letting go is what creates that space. It's not always easy, but every time you release something that once held you down, you rise. And in rising, you begin to see what was always waiting for you. Beyond the noise, beyond the fear, beyond the illusion. Walking the unseen path is one of the most courageous decisions a person can make. It is not marked by applause or recognition. It does not promise comfort, popularity, or safety. It demands something deeper: solitude, inner strength, and unwavering trust in yourself. The unseen path is the path of the awakened, the path of those who choose truth over convenience, growth over approval, and presence over performance. It is a path most will never understand because it goes against everything society teaches. From a young age, we are conditioned to follow the visible trail, the one paved with expectations, traditions, and external validation. We are taught to stay within the lines, to chase what others chase, and to fear standing alone. But the unseen path begins the moment you ask a different question. What if there's more? The moment you stop following the crowd and begin listening to your inner compass, you step onto sacred ground, a path where clarity is your only map and silence is your only guide. At first, it can be lonely. People may not understand you. They may say you've changed, become distant, too intense, too quiet, too different. And they're right. You have changed because you're no longer seeking approval. You're seeking alignment. You're no longer trying to fit into a broken world. You're trying to heal from it. This transformation can be uncomfortable because everything familiar begins to dissolve. The roles you once played no longer fit. The conversations you once enjoyed feel empty. The goals you once chased seem meaningless. But in that discomfort, you begin to find your true self. You begin to notice how often people trade authenticity for acceptance, and you choose not to. You begin to feel how much energy you wasted trying to impress others, and you take it back. You begin to see how often people wear masks to feel safe, and you decide to face life barefaced and honest. This is where true strength is born, not in the noise, but in the quiet certainty that you are walking the path meant for you. The unseen path does promise ease, but it offers power. It teaches you to listen deeply to your instincts, your body, your breath, your environment. You stop chasing and start noticing. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop proving and start becoming. And in that becoming, you unlock something sacred, inner vision. This vision doesn't need permission. It doesn't need validation. It sees through lies, through fear, through illusion. It is precise. It is powerful. And it cannot be explained to those who refuse to see. There's a kind of peace that only comes when you stop explaining yourself. When you no longer need people to understand your path because you understand it. When you no longer seek to be seen because you see yourself clearly. That peace comes when you finally realize that the unseen path is not walked for the world. It's walked for your soul. This path transforms you in ways you never expected. You become more grounded, more intuitive, more unshakable. Challenges no longer intimidate you because you faced the greatest one, yourself. And once you've conquered the internal, the external loses its power over you. You become a quiet force, impossible to manipulate, impossible to distract. You move differently. You speak less, but with more impact. You no longer get pulled into the chaos of others. You remain anchored in your center. You will choose this path, but those who do change the world. Not with noise, but with presence. Not with force, but with clarity. Not with fear, but with vision. And that vision becomes the light that guides others, even if they never know where it came from. You don't walk the unseen path to be followed. You walk it to be free. Real transformation begins when you stop searching for answers outside and start listening to the wisdom within. Intuition is not something mysterious or rare. It is a deep intelligence built into your very being. It is your inner guidance system, a voice that speaks without words, a knowing that does not come from thinking, but from sensing. Most people overlook it, drown it out, or second guess it. But when you learn to trust this silent knowing, your life begins to unfold in ways the rational mind could never predict. The problem is not that people don't have intuition. It's that they've been trained to ignore it. In a world that worships logic and data, intuition is treated as unreliable or emotional. But the truth is, some of your most important decisions cannot be measured by logic alone. They require something deeper, something beyond analysis, something that only reveals itself in stillness. You felt it before, the sudden gut feeling that something isn't right, the quiet nudge that tells you to reach out to someone, the pull to walk away from something that looks perfect on the surface. That's not coincidence. That's your inner vision speaking. And the more you listen, the louder it becomes. The more you ignore it, the more disconnected you feel. Intuition is not loud. It does not compete with the chaos of a busy mind. That's why it's often missed. It speaks through subtle sensations, tightness in the body, a calm certainty, a deep sense of peace or discomfort. To hear it clearly, you must first create space. Silence is the soil where intuition grows. When you quiet the noise, when you stop chasing and start observing, the answers begin to emerge from within you. This is where real confidence comes from, not from the opinions of others, not from external results, but from alignment with your own inner truth. When you trust your intuition, you no longer need to be right all the time, because you are guided by something beyond your ego. You no longer need to compare yourself, because you are connected to a path that is uniquely yours. You no longer waste energy doubting every decision, because you feel the direction, even if you can't explain it. And this trust is built through action. The more you follow your intuition, even in small ways, the more you begin to see its accuracy. You start noticing how things fall into place when you listen. You realize that the right people, the right opportunities, and the right timing show up when you stop forcing and start flowing. It's not magic, it's alignment. Life begins to respond to you differently because you're no longer out of sync with yourself. Intuition also helps you recognize the unseen. You start sensing energies in a room, feeling the truth behind someone's words, noticing the subtle shifts in your own state of mind. This deeper perception is not random. It is your birthright. And the more you develop it, the more powerful your inner vision becomes. You stop living from the surface and begin living from the core. Most importantly, intuition connects you to something greater than yourself. It aligns you with the rhythm of nature, with the wisdom of the present moment, with the quiet intelligence that holds the universe together. You realize you are not lost. You've just been looking in the wrong place. You are not broken. You've just been ignoring the voice that knows how to heal you. To awaken your inner vision, you must return to your intuition, not as a last resort, but as a first instinct. Trust it, even when it doesn't make sense. Follow it, even when it's uncomfortable. Honor it, even when others don't understand, because when you do, you begin to live not from fear, but from truth. Not from habit, but from awareness. And that awareness changes everything. The journey to awaken your inner vision is not about adding more to yourself. It is about stripping away everything that blocks your perception. It is about becoming still enough to hear, disciplined enough to stay the course, brave enough to walk alone, and wise enough to trust the quiet voice within. When you embrace silence, train your mind, let go of attachments, walk the unseen path, and trust your intuition, you begin to see what others cannot. You no longer chase the light, you become the light. This is not a gift reserved for a chosen few. It is a potential within you, waiting to be awakened. The world around you may remain the same, but once your inner vision is activated, your experience of it transforms forever. And in that transformation, you no longer need to search, you simply see.